All right, so today we're in Florence, stepping into the Medici Chapels. And you have to understand, this isn't just a fancy old building. No, this place is a saga carved right into stone. It's a story all about immense power, unbelievable artistic genius, and one family's obsessive centuries-long quest to live forever.
So that really is the central question, isn't it? If you are one of the most powerful families in all of Europe, how do you make sure your name, your legacy, echoes through eternity? Well, for the Medici, the answer was right here. This whole complex was their answer, a final resting place designed to prove that their power was just as permanent as the marble it was built from.
So let's start in a space that feels both incredibly grand and, at the same time, deeply personal. This part of the complex is really the realm of one single, towering genius, Michelangelo Buonarroti. This is like listening in on a direct conversation between the artist and the family that paid for it all. Now, the new sacristy, or Sagrestia Nuova, was commissioned by not one, but two Medici popes, Leo X and Clement VII. And they wanted it as a funeral chapel for some of the biggest names in the family, like Lorenzo the Magnificent. They didn't just want a tomb, you see. They wanted an absolute masterpiece. And for a job like that, who else do you turn to but Michelangelo? What's so fascinating is that Michelangelo didn't just create this out of thin air. He looked directly at the old sacristy next door, this perfect model of early Renaissance harmony, designed by the great Brunelleschi. But here's the thing. Where Brunelleschi was all about calm and order, Michelangelo cranked up the dial. He infused the space with a tense, dramatic, almost sculptural energy. He wasn't just copying a model, he was arguing with it, reimagining it into something totally new and emotionally supercharged. And the tombs themselves, they're not just decorated with simple portraits. Oh no, they are watched over by these four incredibly powerful allegories of time. You have these massive, muscular, twisting figures of dawn, dusk, day, and night. They represent the relentless, unstoppable cycle of life and death. I mean, this is pure Michelangelo, just brimming with tension, with emotion, and of course, with this sublime, almost painful beauty. Okay, so now let's zoom out. We're going to move from the work of one single master to the collective, almost obsessive ambition of an entire dynasty. If the new sacristy is this finely crafted, intricate jewel box, then the Chapel of the Princes, well, that's an attempt to build a mountain. And I'm not kidding about the scale. The dome of this place, this giant octagonal space, it soars to a height of nearly 60 meters. Its cupola is a major landmark on the Florence skyline, second only to Brunelleschi's famous cathedral dome right nearby. This was not just a chapel, this was a statement piece for the entire city to see. And that was the goal right from the get-go. When Cosimo I first came up with the idea, it was all about pure, unapologetic grandeur. The historian Giorgio Vasari wrote down the Duke's vision. He wanted a new mausoleum, most magnificent and truly royal, a place to show off the family's power for all time. So how do you build for eternity? Well, you use materials that don't decay, right? The Medici scoured their lands, and beyond, for the most precious, the most durable stones you can possibly imagine. The walls are covered in this breathtaking mosaic of jaspers, granite, lapis lazuli, even mother of pearl. The message couldn't be clearer. Just like these stones, the Medici dynasty would be incorruptible. But here's the thing about a dream this grand. It doesn't happen overnight. This project wasn't a matter of years or even decades. We're talking centuries. It actually outlived the very dynasty it was built to glorify. I mean, just look at this timeline. It is staggering. The idea is born in 1568. Construction finally gets going in 1605. Fast forward to the 1740s, and the last Medici heir, Anna Maria Luisa, is desperately trying to push the work forward. But the frescoes in the dome, they weren't painted until the 1830s, under a whole new ruling family. And get this, the intricate stone floor wasn't completed until 1962. 1962! It's just an incredible story of persistence. And the logistics behind it all were just mind-boggling. Try to imagine the journey of just one single piece of jasper. First, it's quarried. Then it's shipped to the port of Livorno. From there, it goes to Pisa for a first cut. Then it's loaded onto a barge and carried up the Arno River to Florence. And only then is it delivered to the Grand Ducal Workshop, the famous Opificio delle Pietre d'Ore, where master artisans would spend countless hours cutting and fitting it perfectly into place. For one piece. Now, within this huge epic project, there's a smaller, almost tragic story. The tale of the main altar.
Grand Duke Ferdinando I, he envisioned this spectacular centerpiece for the chapel, an altar made of crystal and precious stones, designed to catch the light in what he called a theatrical and spectacular way. And for decades, artisans labored over it. By 1653, it was almost finished. But then, the story takes a heartbreaking turn. In 1779, with the Medici Dynasty long gone, the new rulers decided the project was just too expensive, and so they had the altar completely dismantled, recycling all its precious parts for other projects. So today, if you go there, a simple wooden model stands where that masterpiece of crystal and light was supposed to be. It's such a powerful symbol of the chapel's impossibly grand ambitions, and, a pretty poignant reminder of an unfinished dream. Okay, for our final chapter, let's leave the grand public spectacle behind for a minute and go back to Michelangelo. We're going to uncover a secret that lay hidden for centuries right underneath the chapel itself. So picture this. The year is 1975. The director of the Medici Chapels Museum, a guy named Paolo Del Poggetto, is just trying to figure out a new exit route for visitors. It's a totally mundane task. But during the search, his team stumbles upon something completely and utterly unexpected. Down beneath the new sacristy, hidden away under some old furniture, they find a trapdoor. It leads down this narrow flight of stairs into a small, windowless little storeroom that had been totally forgotten about for decades. But when they started to clean off the whitewashed walls, they found something absolutely astonishing. The walls were covered in dozens of charcoal sketches. Powerful, almost ghostly figures and anatomical studies that were immediately and without a doubt attributed to the hand of Michelangelo himself. And this incredible discovery suddenly revealed this very human drama playing out behind the scenes. See, back in 1530, Michelangelo had supported a Republican government for Florence, which means he sided against the ruling Medici. When they retook the city, he was basically a marked man. It's believed that he hid in this tiny, secret cell for 2 months. And to pass the time, he filled the very walls of his prison with his genius, hiding from the exact same family that had commissioned his greatest works. So in the end, what we have is this massive complex, designed to be the ultimate public statement of a dynasty's eternal power. But hidden deep in its foundations, it holds the secret refuge of an artist on the run from that very power. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the true, complicated relationship between power, art, and the kind of legacy they end up creating together.